Here we are, another extra 5 on fear. I'm going to put a challenge to you, another challenge. Do you fear God? Do you tremble at his word? This is what he said. This is who he's coming back for. This is who he's looking for. Now, when we go to Africa, when we've gone to Africa, our teams, and I've gone myself once, we found that one of the pervasive types of worship that still persists is the worship at the baobab tree, where they believe the spirits of their ancestors or whatever. But there's this connection with the baobab tree. Now, what are we thinking when we don't connect us taking another tree to them that has nothing to do with what's in the New Testament? It has nothing to do with Yeshua. It has nothing to do with his early followers. It has nothing to do even with his early followers in recorded history. The early followers, the pilgrims, when they came over, at first, when the ones who came to actually practice their religion freely came, they thought that the holidays that were celebrated by the Roman Catholic Church were pagan and they would not participate in them. So how can we take this tree that we started to really revere around the 1800s and we pull this tree from pagan worship? This tree was associated with Saturnalia, with Baal Tammuz, with Ashtar, his mother wife. These things were in the scripture, yes, in the Old Testament, because they were traditions that were followed by old heathen, the people, not they weren't just old heathen, but they were followed by heathen. They were followed by pagans, the worshipers the people who didn't worship Yahweh. You can't get away from it. Jeremiah 10, hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed by them. For the customs of this people are vain. For one cutteth the tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but they speak not. They must needs be carried or borne, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Yahweh, you are great, and your name is great in might. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it pertain. For as much as among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdom, there is none like unto thee. Yahweh said, you don't need to follow their ways. You don't need to take a tree and deck it with gold and silver. I didn't say it. The word said it. Okay, let's look at Ezekiel. Let's look at fixing up the rest of our house and all of our things. Now, this is what he's telling, what he told Judah, Israel, Jerusalem. He says, now, in Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 8, starting at verse 8. Now, when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, that you at your maturity. And I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee and entered into a covenant with thee, and saith, Yahweh God, thou becamest mine. Ooh. Then I washed thee with water. Yes, I thoroughly washed you. I washed the blood from you, and I anointed you with oil. I clothed you also with embroidered work, and I shod you with beaver skin, and I girded you about with fine linen, and I covered you with silk. I decked you also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon your hands and a chain on your neck, and I put a jewel on your forehead and earrings in your ear and a beautiful crown upon your head, and you were decked with gold and silver, and your raiment was of fine silk and linen and embroidered work, and you did eat fine flour and honey and oil, and you were exceedingly beautiful, and you did prosper into a kingdom. But what did they do with that beauty? What did they do with all those things? You took your garments, verse 16. After 15 says you trusted in your own beauty and you began to commit fornication. Now this is, God calls it fornication. I didn't. God called it fornication. Well, I do because I agree with him. Now, 16, and your garments you did take, and you decked your high places with divers colors, and played the harlot thereupon. The like shall not come, neither shall it be so. You shouldn't have done this. Thou hast also taken your fine jewels of my gold and my silver, which I had given thee, and madest to thyself images of men, and didst commit whoredoms with them, and tookest thou embroidered garments and covered them, and thou hast mine oil and mine incense before them. So you took all those beautiful things that I gave you, and you committed whoredom by laying those, decking out, making the high altars and high places of the heathen gods. You began to make those things beautiful. Now, I want to jump to verse 20 because it ends with a very, very important question. Moreover, thou hast taken thy sons and thy daughters whom thou hast borne unto me, and thou hast sacrificed them to be devoured. You're training your children in these heathen practices. Now, this is the question I'm asking you. Is this of your whoredoms a small matter? That was a question I was asked. Does it matter? Yes, he said, is this a small matter? No. I'm going to close with this. Now, this is the topper. When you bring those things that sound like what you saw in Jeremiah 10 and Ezekiel 16, when you bring those into your house, here's what you're doing. Is it a small matter? It's not a small matter because of what it says in Deuteronomy 7, 25 and 26. Deuteronomy 7, 25, 26. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest you be snared therein. For it is an abomination to Yahweh your God. Neither shall you bring an abomination into thine house, lest you be a cursed thing like it. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. Do you know what cursed means in that? Cursed in that verse means doomed for extermination. Does it matter? Yes, it matters. When you bring the accursed thing into your house, when you bring the thing that is doomed for extermination into your house, you become like that thing, which means you become doomed for extermination. Is it a light matter? No, baby. It's not a light matter.